Hi everyone, in this video we'll be going over the basics of pivot table. We're going to be summarizing this list of information. It contains a list of customer IDs and a list of account representatives that are assigned to each of these customer IDs, and the account number are unique to each of these account representatives. So we're going to be creating a summary out of that using the pivot tables. We can go ahead and click on Insert tab and hit on Pivot Table to start the Create Pivot Table wizard. And here we simply just answer the questions that are being asked, and in this case the first one is we need to choose the data that you want to analyze. So we're going to go ahead and highlight or select this first from the first cell all the way down and drag it all the way down to the last row, last column, which is right here. And the next question is we need to choose where we want to have the pivot table be placed. For a cleaner look, we're just going to keep it on the new worksheet, but know that you can also place the pivot table within this same worksheet, only that you will need to assign where you want it. If you want it to start right here, then go ahead and click it and that will auto-populate it. But for this video we will keep it on new worksheet, so go ahead and click OK, and that creates a brand new sheet and also an empty shell of the pivot table. Here you have the header fields that we had on the previous table, the first row, and we're going to be moving these into each of these fields to create the pivot table. The first one we're going to move is the account number. We're going to drop the account number down on the row labels, and that creates a list of all the account numbers that are present in this customer list. And the next thing we're going to move is the customer ID. So what we want the pivot table to do is to count how many customer IDs are within each of these customer account numbers. So we're going to go ahead and drag the customer ID down to the sigma value field, or also called the data field, drop it there, and you see a huge number there. That's because the customer IDs are being added. It's a sum that's showing us, and we don't want that. We want it to count. So let's go back here. Okay, and here still outside of the range. Okay, if you click on sum of customers, that will bring out the drop down menu, and the last selection here, the value field setting, is what you want to click on. So click on that and that will bring up the settings for the value field, and what you want to do here is change the sum to count and hit OK. And that auto recalculates this column so that it shows the count rather than the sum. The next thing we're going to do here, and so now that we have a summary of each account IDs or account numbers and the count of each customers within that account, we want to also see the countries. So we're going to drag countries down to the row labels, but we're going to place it right before the account numbers. Drop it there, and you see the first is country and then now account, and that also creates a similar look in the pivot table. You will see the country first, and then you will see all the account numbers within each of those countries. It will also keep the count of the customers within each of those accounts, and it will also give you a subtotal of how many counts of customers there are for each country. I like also the tabular look. You can change the report layout. Right now we have it on the contact form, or compact form, excuse me. But you can also change it into a tabular format. It makes it look more like a table. You can also remove the subtotals by hitting on subtotals and do not show subtotals. And you can also play around with the grand totals. You can turn it on or turn it off, and include and remove blank lines You can also change the coloring by selecting one of these themes. It's a quick way of adding color to your table. And I also like adding actually merging all of these cells right here. Right now they're not, but I like merging them so that it's a little bit easier to look. So you can do that by right-clicking on within the table and selecting pivot table options, or you can go to the ribbon, select options under the options menu, and that brings out the pivot table options dialog box. And we're going to go ahead and click on merge and center cells with labels, hit OK, and that merges all the blank cells right below the countries, each country name. I also like adding borders so that the lines are more distinct. So let's go ahead and highlight that. Let's go to home, and we're going to go borders, all borders. And now it's a lot easier to look. You can see that, for instance, here in Belgium, you see that there are 3 account numbers, and each of those 3 account numbers has these many customer IDs or customers. You can do a quick mental calculation for 14, or you can also highlight them and see the sum here. You can also see the count, which is counting how many rows. A quick way to see, for instance, if you're doing it here, you can see that there are 74 customers and the count is 18, which means there are 18 account numbers. You can also bring back the subtotals so that you can see you don't have to do any of the count. It already shows you there, but it's a little bit messy for my taste. So what I like to do in these cases is add one of these colorings, and let's choose this one. Now it's a lot easier to look at the table. You can at a glance look at this is all the country information, and if you only want to look at the country total or subtotals, then you just look at the light blue rows. And those are some of the little things you can do with pivot tables. Definitely a powerful tool to take a quick glance at what's going on within your job or whatever project that you're working on. So definitely play around with these. If you have any questions, any suggestions for a more applied or a different way of applying the pivot tables, I definitely would appreciate those comments. Go ahead and drop me a message in the message box to the right. And thank you for watching this video. Bye bye.